Yeah, we can do.
Should we let the others in?
Perfect.
Përshëndetje.
Përshëndetje.
Përshëndetje Mikita.
Përshëndetje. Everybody is greeting you. Okay, I guess.
Hello, everybody.
You get it.
We'll just wait another minute or two until everybody's here. Please switch to the Spanish channel to listen to the translations in Albanian by Mira. Okay, so I think we're going to start. Hello again. Please, if you're just listening, please mute your microphone so we don't have any unwanted noises. Today's topic is going to be mainly on the process on how to get to a script when developing digital learning content. But we're going to start first with your homework, like the sketches you have prepared for today. Then I'll show you how I attacked a topic that I picked, and how I go on now from my sketches to developing a script. Then we'll talk about media a bit, and we're going to focus also on tools that you can use freely to create video, especially also video, since last time somebody asked if we could focus a little bit on video creation. So we're going to show you one tool that you can use to create video very, very easily. Yes, so I'll give the word directly to Tino. He's going to walk you through the next topic, sketches.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Phil. Hello, everyone. Phil, maybe can I quickly take over the screen? Okay, here we go. Thanks very much for uploading all your sketches to the Padlet platform. Looks very nice. Now we thought it would be great if always one of the group can quickly walk us through their ideas, their steps they have taken, and the results they got. Just I would say like 2 or 3 minutes per participant per group. Okay, let's start with Sipper Marje with entrepreneurship. If someone's from the group is here and can walk us through.
Përshëndetje.
Hello again.
Atëherë, dëgjohem më këtu? Po, falë se kisha pak probleme këtu. Atëherë, rëndësia tema thamë,
The topic we mentioned is the importance of human resources development. So this is like the bigger topic is human resources management, and the under topic in a way is this, the importance of human resources management. So our 45-minute lesson, it can be one or it can be an interactive kind of lesson, which means that they might have some assignment in advance, the students, like before the class, or it can be organized also in group work. First step is showing a video of 3 to 4 minutes, which maybe can be sent out to students in advance and they can watch it before, or maybe we can play it in the classroom so everybody can watch that. And then after, we are going to do some brainstorming on this video. So, and a brainstorming session is going to be like 5 to 8 minutes. The students have to discuss what they received from this video on the importance of human resources management. After we get the very first feedback on what the students know about the importance of the human resources management, we can move on to teaching new information about new issues, let's say, which need to be discussed on this topic. We have also planned the analysis part, or to check comprehension in a way of the students. We should come up with some case studies. They should be divided in groups, identify what the problem is, and come up with a solution for that problem, for that issue. And everything should be, of course, related to the importance of human resources management, so to the topic. This is more or less our sketch, so summarized in a summarized way. So that's how we have thought, let's say, or planned one class, one lesson. So it's going to be divided into these sections based on the scheme that you provided for us and presented for us.
Perfect, thanks very much. Just as an understanding, is the processing of the information they got, is that the case studies they're working on then, or?
Yes, she say, yeah, that's okay. So the students are going to do some kind of analysis, she calls it, but based on the knowledge, the new information that they receive, not only on the existing knowledge, but also on the new, let's say, content that they have been taught. So this is, they call it analysis, but it's a processing.
All right. Okay.
And in this way, they can be able to analyze some situation, to interpret and suggest some solutions in more concrete situations.
All right. Okay, great. Thanks very much. Now let's switch to electrotechnics, electrotechnica. I'm gonna quickly make that a little bit bigger. Hopefully it's readable for everyone. Someone of the group Electrotechnica, please.
Përshëndetje.
Hello.
Ne kemi marrë për të trajtuar dioda.
The topic is the LED diodes, and before we start kind of teaching that, we should show some images to the students on the screen, such as pharmacy, signs, LED walls, LED screens, etc. so as the students can know beforehand what we are going to talk about. And then there is questions, interactive questions, to check comprehension and to check existing knowledge on the images that have been shown, because this is something that has been taught even before. We ask a few questions. What is a diode? What are its types? Some images you can relate to them. And then we teach the new content about the way how they can use the diodes. And then for the processes, it's like some kind of what are the possibilities of using LED, not only at home, but even in the other environments, let's say. And so they can use that time, let's say, that we mentioned to use it. And then the last one is analysis, or kind of reflecting discussion on the knowledge and content that has been taught.
Perfect. Thanks very much. Just as looks very nice. As a reminder, you don't have to do like too strictly the I or the P. So the information and the process, sometimes you can even flip them around. So you can play with that a little bit as well. So sometimes it's you let them deal with like a challenging questions. Maybe they don't even know the answer yet, just to see how they would approach it, the problem they see or they get, and then come with the information maybe even after that. So they already make kind of their own thinking about the case. But this is a little bit, I mean, it depends on the context, on the situation, but you can play with that, so that it doesn't always have to be really according to this YI-PA. It can be WAPIA as well, or so you can play around with that a little bit. Okay, thanks very much. Now let's jump to Economique. Someone of the group, economics, please.
Our topic is distribution, which is like commercial knowledge. During the first stage, it's like welcome. We show some inspiring video, let's say, but always related to the topic, which is the distribution. This is a YouTube video, but we can use other forms of the video, but this was like the shortest way of getting one from the YouTube. Then we come up with a quote for the students. So some trade cannot be justified by not becoming the voice of the consumer. So this is some quote from some marketing expert. And then activizing existing knowledge in a way like, what do they know about distribution? So it's something that they have been taught even before, and this is like recalling existing knowledge. Concerning the information and processing, we show, it's about the second one now. We have the links in a chain, and these are very important, because if one link is broken, it means that the product cannot go to the destination. So all the links are really important. During the third stage, we have the information, which is done through, again, through some kind of quote from an expert, and we say the distribution mechanisms are consumers' consumption systems. We say that, this kind of quote, and then on the board, we put some equation system with two variables, and the students have to say, because they have knowledge about that, they have to say that this is a equation system which has two variables, and directly we move on to the consumption systems, which also have two variables, and in a way we argue on what variables are knowledge that we are, new knowledge that we are receiving about the variables. And the last one is the analysis. So it's about distribution mechanisms into the distribution structure. The question is, the distribution process is important, and yes, no, why? They have to come with arguments for both. Like if it's yes, if it's no, they have to say why. And this is our scheme, a summarized let's say presentation of our scheme.
Perfect. Thanks very much. It looks very interesting. I like as well the metaphor about the picture there. You can already exactly see that it all has to be linked together, and the challenging questions with the mathematical questions. Very nice. Great. Thanks very much. We go to the next one, engineering. Let's open that here. Here we go. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Like all the other groups, the engineering group, due to the topic, because the topic is related to the main sensors of an engine in computer systems, we have, okay, so we know that our students are so connected to the practical training and this internship or apprenticeship, let's say, in a way, and that's why we organized our topic this way. So welcome is the very first phase, the welcoming, alongside with some short video, the teacher starts by motivating the students, asking them kind of help about some issues, some problems, some with let's say the teacher is a driver, and on the dashboard there is some lamp flashing, let's say. The teacher goes into the classroom alongside with the video. The teacher asks the students, what do you think happened to my car? Based on the fact and knowing that the students are really successful during their apprenticeships. Then the second stage is interactive questions. So for students, what was the reason, why the lamp is on, what affected that, what can we do? And there's several other questions, which are the questions that you can see in the sketch. Afterwards, after the interactive questions, we provide some new information. So the teacher teaches some new content on this topic, on this issue that they are talking about, and the teacher provides data, information, when can it happen, how can it happen, and it's listed there. The next phase, which is the processing phase, we use this phase to assign some task to the students to work in the group. We use I and A, so as the students can work together and do some task so as they can reach the objective. The student should evaluate, should judge, should analyze, argue, and at the end of the day, be able to simulate. At this very final stage, we provide the students with the opportunity to show and tell about similar cases, if they have ever been come across with such issues while they were doing their apprenticeship, and after they work in a group, after this phase that we call like a transformer phase. It's processing, but they call it a transformer thing. And the final one is the analysis. The final analysis, the engineer group was thinking that during this phase, maybe in 6 or 7 minutes, they can use it for students' reflection. This is kind of reflection for the students. Every work group, through one representative, should reflect on the issues related to damaged sensors in the vehicle. And if we look carefully, there are 2 conclusions there at the end of that. And these are the conclusions that have been reached by the students, of course, managed and supervised by the teacher. So this can be valuable for all boys and girls who drive. So this is a this is a lesson from Teacher Voiceover. So if you release the engine, it means that there is some flow in the oil engines, or there is some flow in the candela. I'm not sure if it's candela, but it's part of the car. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Great work. Here the same thing, information and processing. You can always combine them a little bit, maybe put them sometimes upside down, have them process first something that don't even know yet. But just that, you know, you can mix it up a little bit. Perfect, thanks very much. So now general courses. We've got the sketch here.
Oh, atëherë, përshëndetje të gjithëve.
Hello, everybody. Rudina is speaking.
Atëherë ne kemi menduar
që
tema, domethënë që kemi zgjedhur është mineralet.
Our topic is about minerals. We started with the learning outcomes because we think that learning outcomes are really important. After that, there is some kind of introduction through a video. If the video is on the platform, the students can be told to watch it in advance, but anyway, it's a short video, just an introductory video. And if the students didn't watch it before, we can show it in class, play it in class, and the students should take notes, structured notes on that, and afterwards they can come up with ideas that they get out of this video, and which can lead to some short discussion about what they get from the video. Afterwards, during the next stage, we think that it's like the solution to the situation. Since this is a topic that the students, so the students learned about that even during the previous classes. So even during the lower secondary school, this is also some topic which is related to physics as well. This is geography, but the topic can be related to physics as well. And the students might have some existing knowledge about that from physics. And we've been thinking that such a stage can be delivered through questions. And if it's part of the platform, it would be good to use dialogue cards, which is linked to some images linked to some questions. So this we think would be a good option. After that, we move on to the content, the next stage. And also keeping in mind what kind of new information or content is going to be taught. Since part of this kind of content and information, which is more about terminology, concepts, and they need to be kind of further developed, again, even if it's part of a platform or not, it should be kind of development of some glossary, let's say, or kind of vocabulary, since it's mainly concepts like physical or chemical features of the mineral, specific weight, resistance, elasticity, etc., etc. She's making a long list of all the features, optical features, etc. These are all terms that can be kind of developed in the form of a vocabulary or glossary, and based on that, the student can work on that by themselves, finding like what the definition of some term is. After that, after the information part, we come up with some kind of summary of what has been happening, and then some assignment, homework, like an essay. This can be assigned, or it can be a short quiz, pop quiz in class, or homework, it can be some kind of essay. They'll take time at home to evaluate the mineral sources of Albania, come up with some kind of evaluation, but expressed in an essay form, let's say, to evaluate if these, evaluate the whole Albanian, let's say, mineral resources. That's it.
Perfect. Thanks very much. Thanks a lot. Just one question that comes in my mind again. Well, at the coaching session, we talked about that they going out to get stones. Maybe that was an idea that came up. Is that still somewhere in your heads that they would go out to a task and maybe take a picture of the stone or anything?
Atëherë, kjo tek detyra që do jepet, kuptohet.
This is like the assignment. It's the assignment part.
Okay.
Which can be two ways. It can be an essay, or it can be like they do some kind of reporting, like go there, take pictures or whatever. So this is the assignment part that is going to be delivered, not to be done not in class, but at home or somewhere else in some other site.
All right, perfect.
There is some.
Yeah.
Yulia, I think, wants to intervene.
Yeah, sure.
Selmani, okay. The topic is related to minerals, and of course it's related to the occupations that we have at school, that we provide at school, especially at the mechanical part and auto and electrotechnics. If we are speaking about minerals, and they'll find out what the physical features of the minerals are by looking at them physically, they also come up with the qualities of these minerals or their processing, let's say, in the industry. So I think that this is a topic which, like, all the students can be included. It's all inclusive because we have taken that persona, that unmotivated student. So this is a topic which involves even this kind of persona.
Perfect. Yeah, I think it's a great topic to play with. Thanks very much. Perfect. Well done. Mira, there are just some questions in the chat. I don't know if there's anything that we have to look at. You just let us know if you see something that's for us.
There are no questions.
Okay, good.
You know, it's like they congratulating each other on the good work they've been doing.
All right. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, but no real questions.
That's very important, though. Very good.
This is some kind of feedback we provide to one another, she's saying, so that's a good thing to do.
Very important. Very, very good.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your work. Maybe just I took some notes, and we're gonna talk individually to the groups also, and maybe, you know, try to find also creative solutions to really try to maximize the students' motivation, and, you know, really make them want to learn. Just one example, I think the last group, you mentioned the glossary. I think the glossary is very important because, you know, students can also use it just to look up things even when they're done studying, but maybe they want to go back at some point and look something up. But the big challenge with glossaries comes always on how to make them a bit more engaging. You know, like how can you make a glossary in a way that also excites a student a bit to look into it. So there's some really interesting formats here I've seen that are, I think we're going to have to think about it, and, you know, how to really make them work in a self-learning setting. Great. So let me just share my screen again. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through the process on how I developed a topic. So I picked this topic, and I started with a learning objective that is fictional in a way that I just made it up. So a student has to be able to calculate voltage, resistance, and current using Ohm's law. That's my learning objective for my e-learning module. So first, like you did now, I started sketching out, my module following the bypass structure. Then I started to write down ideas of illustrations and maybe video and the content that I want to have within a video. And only then I started writing a script. And once I finished with, or I have a first draft of my script, I try to produce media. So I'm going to show you what this looks like when I start working. So you see here, I wrote down Aviva with the German, it's Viper. But I always try to work visually, just using a pen, and I just start to write down things. So I know as a welcome, I want some sort of video, and I've already added some topics that I want to be in there. It has to be something engaging, maybe surprising, about electricity. Maybe I can show, thunder, or I don't know. It's just some ideas. Then the next part, I wanted the student to reflect like a bit about his own knowledge. Maybe I'm going to use a situation. What did I write here? Sorry. Oh yeah, maybe you show them easy schematic, and you ask them some question about the schematic. Oh, what do you think needs to be done so that the light bulb starts flashing, or something like that. It's just really ideas. Then for the information part, what I try to do, I always not completely divide the information and the process part. I usually try to mix them up. In this case, I would somehow start with just pure information, and I want to talk about schematics in electric diagrams and electric circuits. I want to talk about symbols. They always use those symbols in electric circuits. One topic I want to touch is dangers. When you work with current, what do you have to pay attention to? Because it can threaten your life. I think it's very important to know. And then basically I want to introduce Ohm's law, V equals R times I think. All the engineers, I'm sorry if I mess up things. I'm not an engineer, so it's very basic knowledge for me. Then I would continue to a section where I just ask questions, and I'm going to use this quiz not only to ask them stuff they already know, but on the other hand, I want to ask them things that they probably won't know. But I will transmit the important things over a feedback. So even if they are wrong, they can read in the feedback why the correct answer would be X and Y and Z. So I really try to challenge them in the quiz. It's not important if they know it or not. The important thing is that they read the feedback and then learn something. Then at the end, I'd like to use some social task. It can be group work, or a method that I really like is to have the student write a resume of the lesson that he has just completed, and limit the resume to, I don't know, half a page or 1 page, and they have to hand it in. So I think it's a very good method, because it forces the student to write the things in his own words, and transfer the knowledge into his own words. So that's something I like to do. But there are many methods you can use to make him get off the screen, to actually write down something, or bring it back into the classroom and do something in a group work, or present something in classroom. So as I usually start sketching this structure, what happens next is more ideas come to mind. And you see here I started drawing a fountain, because I feel current can be visualized very well by water. So I started drawing a fountain just as a reminder. Hey, I wanna use this metaphor at some point, explaining current using a fountain and water. I've already added some questions to the quiz. It says, yeah, but basically the quiz should pick up on topics that they know. So probably everyday items they use every day, like their smartphone. Make a connections with electricity and their smartphones somehow. But that's just my process, and this process is individual for everybody. I like to draw visually and just write in, and if some new ideas come, I just draw them in and write them in. But it just helps me to organize my thoughts. Then the next step, it's actually scripting. So once I have a rough structure, what I do, I really start to write a script in a Word document or a PowerPoint document, and we're going to provide you with some templates, but you can also create your own. We're just going to give you some tips what works best when it comes to developing scripts. But before I show you mine, which is not finished, by the way, it's still a work in progress, but you'll see how I approach a script. So when it comes to writing scripts, always try to use short sentences, and at the same time avoid nested sentences. Like when people read on a screen, it's more difficult than reading on paper. So try really to reduce the amount of text that you use, and keep those sentences short. That helps the learner to grasp the content that you try to convey. Whenever possible, work with stories. So try to tell a story around the topic. Of course, it's not always possible, but whenever you can, try it. It's really fun, and it helps the students to learn. And we human beings, we think in stories. So it's a really good method, and very effective method to teach something. But again, it doesn't work for every topic. The next best thing that you can do, describe situations that are close to students' daily life. Describe situations that they know. Speak about things, objects that they know. Anything that they know is very good to make some sort a comparison, for example. Also very helpful, and one group did this already in the sketch with the chain for the distribution. When you complex problems sometimes are difficult to visualize, so it sometimes helps to use metaphor to visualize them. So always think about metaphors, like break down a problem using a metaphor is a method that's really helpful for students. And then the next points I mentioned already: always ask challenging questions and give extensive feedback. So not just a right or wrong answer, but explain why was it wrong, or yes, why is it right? And then the last point, this is for the last part of WIPA. Try to use, you know, different methods for group work, individual work, and class assignments. Try to switch this up all the time, even though if they work in a digital medium, make them go out of the screen and make them do something like writing something that I can bring it back to the class. So now I'm going to share with you my first draft of the script, so you understand my process a bit better. Okay, so it's very simple. Just have a title for my e-learning module that I want to create. I always use the following columns: a reference with, it's basically just a number, description where I describe what I want to do and maybe what kind of method I want to use, or if it's just text on a screen, I just write text. Then there's screen text. Screen text is what you're actually going to see, what the learner is going to see on the screen. So this is most of the time is text. Voiceover, this is only used when you create a video, or if you record a presentation with your voice on it. So this column is used to really write down what you are going to say when you want to record something. And the last column is just media, where I write down what I need. So you can see here's some sort of video I'm going to need. I'm going to use some Mentimeter at some point, maybe. I'm going to use some illustrations of a circuit. I don't know. But let's walk through it. So first, I want to start with the reference. The reference is really important because I really encourage you, whenever you create learning content, always work in a group. Don't work alone. And it helps when you've created something and you send it to your colleague to just check it. It just helps you to have a number, so you easily know, hey, listen, number 3, I have blah, 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 some other opinion, or you should add this text. It just helps you communicate about your script. It's a small thing, but it has a big effect. Title, I want to have some sort of title at the very beginning of my module, and the title is going to be Ohm's Law. And then I'll just ask a question. Have you ever heard about it? This is a small didactical trick. When we write titles, we always try to address the student directly, so he already has an attitude that he's more engaged. It's different if I just write Ohm's Law. Okay, he just reads it. If you ask him a question, somehow, even unconsciously, he's already started thinking about it. So when we use titles for e-learning modules, you always try to engage the user over the title already. Okay, number 2, I want to have some sort of video. You've seen that already in the sketch that I showed you before. I don't know what kind of video, so I'm going to have to do some research, but I want a video that shows electricity, or maybe its effects, or something that is, can be very emotional, or nice images. I'll see what I'll find, but that's something I want to have. And then after the video, I want to start with a reflection already. So the question I will ask him, and that this will be just text on the screen. In your opinion, how much electricity are you using during a day? And then I'll ask him to write down the different devices you or your family members are using that use electricity, and try to order them by the most power-hungry device. We will discuss your findings next week in class. So the student, he just needs pen and paper. Oh yeah, pen and paper. or you can use, Word or something. But already here he has to do something and think about his daily life. When does he actually use electricity, or what is it used for? Number 4, existing knowledge. So something similar. I describe a situation. You go to your room after dinner to do some homework. As you try to turn on the light, nothing happens, only darkness. How do you proceed to get this issue fixed? And here I've actually created a Mentimeter. I will show you this, just a second. Or so I've created a Mentimeter of this question. If you want, you can actually fill this out. If you open your browser and go to menti.com, then you add this number, 384023. You can answer this question, and I will in real time see your answers. So I'm going to let this here for 5 minutes. Please try to fill out this Mentimeter, and then maybe grab a coffee and then come back. We will continue in 5 minutes with the class.
So this is for the participants here, the coffee thing? Okay.
Yes, for you as a participant.
So in 5 minutes, yeah?
Yes, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, thanks everybody for answering the question. I just saw that Atlera actually had a power outage, so that that works perfectly with what we've just been doing. So, you know, just to show you, that's a very easy and simple method to, and also fun method that you can also use and combine within an e-learning module, but also, of course, use it in a classroom. And you can also, like, I would have voted differently. I mean, number one, check if other devices have current. Yes, I would put that on first two. Check if the bulb is broken second. Yes, maybe, probably. But then third and fourth, I would have probably have switched. So, you know, before I go touch any switch and do things with a switch, I would probably turn off the fuse, and only then, once I know what there's no electricity on the circuit, I would then check if the switch is okay, if the connections in the switch are okay. And I'm glad call your parents is not number one. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, just to show you how to incorporate also other tools within an e-learning module. I'm going to switch back to the screen, to the script. Sorry. Where is it? Okay, so here now that I have set up actually Mentimeter, I would already add here the link, and then also the code. It's 38 40 23. Just because I want to have everything within this script. Okay, so next I'm gonna, I want to, number 5, I want to develop the topic, and I know this is gonna be text and images, and here I just roughly structured topics I want to touch on. There's no content yet. So, what is electricity? What units are we talking about, and what are they for? What symbols are being used when drawing a circuit board? So this is for me. This is more for me just to structure the content I need. And now the next step will be now to actually fill this with content and also images. I want to use images because I know when it comes to electricity, there's a very abstract way of drawing, circuit boards, and but here we can actually use metaphors to facilitate the learning process. And I'm gonna change back to my PowerPoint. I've showed you, I've prepared some illustrations. So this is just drawn on a tablet very quickly, just to show, I want to talk about a battery that contains a certain amount of power, voltage. There's going to be some current, there's going to be some resistance, in this case a bulb. Oh, sorry, I'm sharing the wrong. Okay, that's better. There's going to be some resistance, a bulb in this case. I know I'm going to use this sort of illustration at some point. And there's the schematics for the same setup. And I know already here I want to talk about the direction of current. That's why I added arrows. And here I want to talk specifically about the battery and voltage. So this is, to me, it's very abstract. So I try to find a metaphor on actually how a battery and how the whole voltage thing, how that works. So as I found out, you can compare this to a mountain. So if you're on top of a mountain and you throw down a mass, the mass is going to roll down the mountain, and on its way down, you know, it's going to hit trees and animals and whatnot. And if you translate this to power, you can imagine you have a battery within the mountain. Here you have the minus pole. So electrons are going to roll down the mountain, and it's going to join the plus pole. And while rolling down, everything you put in its way, it's going to do something. So if you add a light bulb, it's going to start to glow. If you add something else is going to happen. But this is just, for me, like me as not an engineer, like this is something I understand, and I think students, this is something, it's a metaphor they can use too. So going back to my script. So usually in a, you know, the process, usually I would develop the script here and only then produce media or start drawing. But since this is a topic I'm not really familiar with, and I had to look up things and find metaphors, and it was quick and easy just to draw something, and now I have it. I don't know yet what I'm going to do with it. Maybe a video with some audio underneath, but I don't know yet. But at least now I already have some media illustrations that I can use for my e-learning module. Number 6, that's the quiz. So just questions. What you see here, SC stands for, I guess try this out, single choice questions. MC would be multiple choice, but for now I only have single choice question. And here I write down my question, in which direction is the current flowing. That's the question. And below you see the possible answers from plus to minus, from minus to plus, or depends on the voltage. And I designate the correct answer with a star. And then, very important, whatever they answer right or wrong, they're always going to get the same feedback. And I try to put some theoretical knowledge in my feedback. So, for example, as per definition, convention, current always flows from plus to minus. Benjamin Franklin described the flow of the current in the 1750s, and we've adapted this convention since then. I could continue now and, you know, tell the student, but the actual current, when we talk about electrons moving, it's actually the other way around, because it goes from the minus pole to the plus pole. Oh, this is actually the next questions. I've already added it here. In which directions electrons are flowing. Some answers flow clockwise against the clock, plus to minus, minus to plus, depends on the voltage. And then, you know, you could give a more extensive feedback. And, you know, this section is going to grow, so there are going to be more questions. I just added quickly two questions for today, but then I'll be working on the script. I'll add more questions, and also different type of questions, maybe drag and drop questions. We'll see what comes to my mind. And then just for the last part, I mentioned this, just a, you know, something to transfer what the student has learned. I would ask them to write a summary of this class on an A4 page and bring it to class, or, you know, upload it to Moodle or email it to the teacher, to Classroom, Google Classroom, or, you know, whatever you want to do. A good method is also to follow up with questions that they can solve by themselves, but give them the task to, you know, use the internet to answer this question. And write an explanation on how and why it is X and Y. So that works very well too. So this is my first step on how I start to build the script. The goal of this script is once I'm done here, I have all the content within the script. So I've all the text, all the questions, all the feedbacks. I've described all the media. If I want to produce a video, I write the text I want to speak. On the video, I write it here, so I have everything in one document, and only then I go on and produce actual media. Unless you've in the process already created illustrations, that's perfectly fine too. But the goal is really that you can use this document. Once you're finished, you can use this document to produce the e-learning module very, very efficiently. That's the goal. Okay. Oh, there's something in the chat. This is the creative teacher. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but thanks. Okay. Going back to the presentation.
Yes, it's true. It's a compliment, he's saying.
Thank you. Okay, back to the presentation. So now, since you don't want to create all the content yourself, that's just too much of work, and there's already a lot of content and media, especially videos and illustrations out there. So Tino's gonna talk about available content and media.
Thank you, Phil. Maybe if you can already get to the next slide. So it's important to know, maybe this is not like in the process that this comes straight after all the thinking and doing the script. Maybe this goes parallel. Maybe you get some inspirations from content that you have or that you've seen. Here we just listed some guiding questions that could help. Some is probably very obvious for you already, because you always, as a teacher, you always have to look for content and work with content. Just something that we think is very important if you want to keep it really learner-centered. Then you don't want to just, because you have this media or you have this content, that you're going to wrap everything around this. So it's the other way around, as we try to teach, is that when you do all the thinkings about the journey of the learner, about when he can learn, and about the context and everything that we have done until now, it's important that the media and the content fits in this and not the other way around. So it's always good to check if the content really is practical, if it's learner oriented. I don't know, Mira, maybe for 2 minutes, do you want to quickly go through this text and then translate that? That would be great.
Yes, you want me to translate these questions? Okay.
Exactly, thank you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yes, Tino, done.
Okay, perfect. Thanks very much. So now we're going to focus a little bit on the media itself. Like it used to have, like, always when you do some kind of media things, you had to go to a specialist or create this, and it costs a lot of money. And but those days, that's a fascinating thing, especially now during those times. We can explore a lot of great initiatives that are going on, and I'd like to show you one or two. One that we think is really cool. We don't really work much with it. I'm pretty new as a user as well, but I think it's worth to show you. Maybe some of you guys already know it. So Phil, maybe if you can quickly go to the next slide. It's all about kind of looking for media and maybe adapt it. So you don't have to do everything from scratch to kind of film a whole movie, to get a video or anything. Sometimes there are easier ways to get like really good content or good media. So I chose this @puzzle.com. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the value proposition of it is like just any media, any video that is out there on YouTube, other kind of platforms. You can just kind of adapt them for your situation. I'm gonna walk you through quickly, and you can have a look how this looks like. I'll choose here any topic that has nothing to do with your topic, just that you can see. You can see this is like the video. This is like a video player, like we're familiar with. This is from YouTube now, even in a 360 degrees angle, so you'll see afterwards. You can have a look around and everything. It's about a temple in Mexico. Just have a look. I'm gonna play.
Chichén Itzá was an amazing city of the Maya, what we see now.
So now you can see that was the start of the video. That was in English now. We're gonna have a look as well later on how we can do a voiceover to that. I can see that the video stops because I put in myself like a marker on the video, like a timestamp, and kind of included an open-ended questions. I mean, you can do open-ended questions or multiple choice questions, just anything. Maybe you want them to kind of watch the start of it and then add a question to it, so they get kind of this interaction within the video. So I would say the story, I would say it reminds me of this 2012 calendar. I would write a little bit more about it and submit it. And you can grade it or not. It doesn't really matter. It's just about have them interact with the content.
It's the civic and religious part of it, so we can tell this.
And then it goes on, as you can see, as a 360 video. You can even kind of look around.
It's an amazing building.
Doesn't exist for all kind of topics, but sometimes it might be usable for some kind of topics. Now we're going to switch to, here we go, this must be that one here. Now we're kind of in the back end, and this is everything is quite kind of in the browser itself, so there's no need to download anything. Now quickly go back here. As you can see here, first on the left side, you've got all those platforms: YouTube, Khan Academy, National Geographic, TED Talks, whatever. You can look for content by entering keywords. You can browse through whatever. I just picked anything and just kind of copied it to my site, to this LearnNets kind of site, and then you can go into the video and you just say edit. I mean, it doesn't have like tons of functionalities, but it has some very important ones that could be kind of useful for you as well. First is this cut function, so you can quickly make this shorter or cut parts of it out, cut and delete. Whatever, you can play with that. You can add a cut, then go to the next one and cut this as well, and make things shorter. And the video itself, it will then jump from this part to this part. So it's, I mean, you have to get familiar a little bit with it, but it's not really rocket science to play with that. And you can't kind of damage anything. You can just play around and see what comes out. Then the good thing as well is the voiceover part. So it's you can always kind of record your own voice, and it's this voice that's going to be the main audio. So you don't hear the English version, for example, here, and you can just add anything. You just have to say that it's allowed to get the microphone. Hello, this is my voiceover I'm doing here. And now it can put the voiceover on there. Exactly, so you can have different voiceovers for all kind of parts of the video. So you can do that all in your language, in Albanian. And the other thing I showed you just beforehand is the questions. You can choose between multiple choice questions, like those interactive things during the video. You can have open-ended questions, as we had before, or you can just write a note. So something that has to be clear, or that they have to pay attention. And you see always down below why did they put that, so that it's really understandable for your students. It always saves automatically. You can finish it, and then if you kind of have this video that is especially for you, like done for you, and you can use that for your e-learning as well. You can quickly have to check if you put a sign on here. You can either use this Edpuzzle as a whole kind of management thing. I see it more in the way like you create public links to share this with the students, and then you can embed them into your e-learning that you're doing. It always depends a little bit what kind of thing you're using. For example, Moodle, then you probably just either not 100% sure how you can embed it, but either with this public link that they click on it and jump on the video, or directly in it with this iframe, so they have that within the e-learning. So this is a nice thing about the videos. You can use the whole platform of videos that exists in the world out there, and you can adapt it to your needs or to your students' needs. Okay, now quickly jump to the other two ones. This is more photo related. This is not that you kind of edit it in here, but just that you're probably familiar with that already. There are a lot of free to use stock photos on the internet. Pexel is something that we like because it's usually very nice and appealing, the pictures. So you can look for let's say a billboard with the for example with the LED project. You get quickly like some good media content that's related to your topic. this is picture-wise. They're usually free to use. Sometimes you have to how do you call it? Just forgot the word about it. If you have to contribute to the one that did it. So always check the licenses if you have something that goes outside that you use. And another thing is the noun project. We will list all those kind of things in the presentation. But the noun project is a huge database of icons. So in case you need icons, you can use them for free if you contribute to the designer who did it. Like you have to just write down the name somewhere. Otherwise, you can do an account as well. I think it's not too expensive, and you get millions of icons that you can use in all kind of topics. You see, I put in LED, and you see like schematic things or kind of more picture or more icon wise. Or yeah, you can go through that. It's really awesome stuff in there. Perfect. Oh yeah, thanks, Phil. The credit the designer if you have the free version of it. All right, perfect. That's it about existing media and how to adapt it for your needs. Just gonna pass over to Phil.
Thanks, Tino. Okay. So next is some more tools that we mostly invite you to check them out yourselves. So you've already experienced the first one, Mentimeter, when it comes to answering or asking questions and get live answers within the classroom or whatever you want. They're really, fun and nicely animated questions. And there's a free version of it too, so you can use it. At least a limited part of it you can use for free. Then the next one I'd like to briefly show you is Adobe Spark. This can be used to create videos, and I've prepared something. Just a second. So Adobe Spark, you can sign up. You can sign up for free under the address you're gonna get with the presentation, and then it can be used to create videos. And it's more or less like a fancy PowerPoint. So you can easily add content and then have voiceovers over each slide. I'll show you briefly. So what I did now, I started with a title, something that I needed an image to add an image. You can either use Pexel that Tino showed you before, or you have within Spark itself, you have the possibility to look for images that are free to use. So yeah, I already added electricity, and you see a bunch of images. Yeah, I don't know. I think I picked the best one. No, I'll add this one. And now it automatically adds my picture. What I can do now, if I click on this microphone button, and I'll keep it clicked, that's important, you can talk and it's going to record my voice as long as I keep the button pressed. So you can welcome your students on this slide, blah blah blah, and then the video is going to continue to this slide that I prepared. This is pretty much Ohm's law So what I try to do is explain to students how they can use the formula of Ohm's law. That's V equals R multiplied by I. So if you illustrate it this way in a pyramid, you can always hide the letter you need to know. So for example, if you need to know voltage, that's R multiplied by I. If you need to know R, it's voltage over I, and so on and so forth. So I've prepared another one here. I'm just going to upload a picture from my computer. What's this one? This one. Okay, so now I've uploaded the picture, but as you can see, it's a bit on the wrong side. You always have on the top right, you have a button to edit something, so you just drag it in. Okay, I can also resize it if I want to, but I'm going to keep it like this. Okay, and then you see here on the bottom, it goes on, it goes on. I chose a education template, so we already get a rough structure for your video, and it's not too far from the iPad that we have showed you. So you know you can. It's a good guide to use it for a video too. Here they suggest that you make examples here, explanations, and then you engage the student and send them off to do something. At the end, they propose a summary for the viewer. But you can you can delete the slides. And this is how you can build your own video. So if you, I'll show you what it looks like. If you click preview, the video is just going to play. And normally you have recorded some voice, so you know the slide's going to stay longer on here. And the animations, it's a bit too much to my taste, but you can adjust all of this, and it takes some time to get in. You see here on the right hand side under layout, you have different slide types that you can use. Under theme, you have different color modes that you can use. Yeah, this usually you keep it at widescreen. And you can also have music that's played in the background, which I think in educational content, you most of the time, you won't need that. But it's just it's an easy way to create video content if you have, like me, you know, illustrations and you want to use them as a video, and add some comments. Once you're done with your video, you can either download it onto your hard drive, or you can share the video over a link. Blah blah blah. Create a link. So I think this is going to take a while now, but it basically just generates a link to your video, and you can send out this link if you need to. But I really invite you to try this for yourself. The next tool that I'm not going to go into it because it's you can do a lot of things in here, and it's also limited in the free version, but this is a pretty powerful video editor. So you can edit videos within the browser, and it's pretty easy, and they can do a lot of things. But the free version only allows you to export small videos, so not HD, but it's about a third of HD. You know, which can be completely fine. But I'll invite you to try it out, try it for free. You just create an account with your password, with your email and the password. When it just comes to shortening videos, I think it's better to use EduPuzzle as Tino showed before. Okay. And I know some of you already know Mentimeter, so you know, maybe try within the groups to exchange yourselves and also exchange experiences. The next coaching session, we'll try to answer questions also regarding tools. So if you have time until then to look at some of these tools, that would be great. Regarding the coaching session, I have an appointment a workshop the whole day next Tuesday. So I think we will try to move the next workshop for 1 week. Let me just share my screen again. So, but we will talk with Sidita and her team about this. So we propose that we're going to have the next coaching session not this Thursday, but Thursday in a week, where we'd like to discuss your script and then answer questions regarding the script, and also, you know, maybe if you have time to go through the tools and help you on how to use those tools that we've just showed you briefly. Your homework, as you've probably guessed, for the next webinar, which will be hopefully the 16th of June, so today in 2 weeks, would be to start writing the script for your module. We will send out this whole presentation, so you have all the content available. Mira's going to translate it, and Mira's going to translate it, and we'll also add the templates for the scripts. If you want to use them, feel free. But if you just want to create your own template or your own script structure, that's completely fine. One thing that I forgot to mention when it comes to script writing, it looks sometimes easy, you know. You write, blah, 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 and you think everything is fine, but it takes a long time. And what I always experience is that I always keep moving stuff around. You know, like it's always like, oh, if I write this here, then this content can't be here, so something else needs to come here. So it can be sometimes a bit frustrating, and you know, just be prepared. Script writing is not easy, but I'm sure those of you who've already created educational content, you know that. But that's why I really encourage you to work in groups on your topic. Sidita just wrote me that the dates proposed are okay for her. We're just going to check with you, the participants, if this works for all of you. But I think we're going to do this over email. So if there are no further questions right now, that was it for today's session. I hope you've got some inspiration from the way we work, the way we approach, especially script writing and working with media. So if there are no questions right now, thanks everybody, and we'll see you hopefully on June 11th.
Thank you very much, everyone. And goodbye. And again, the question and answer board is still up there, so you can always use that.
Okay.
Faleminderit të gjithëve. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you very much, they're saying. Have a nice day.
Thanks.
Pafshim. Goodbye, see you on the 11th. Bye.
Pafshim.
Pafshim.
If you can hear me, my video is still recording as I am a co-host now. What should I do? To pause or stop recording?
Now you can stop the recording. Just press on the